Okay, folks, look, it's our favorite time of the year, right? And guess what we doing for breakfast? We doing biscuits and gravy. Now, I'm gonna come over here. The first thing we gonna do is we gonna go ahead and hit bake. We gonna hit 425 and start, because that's what we're gonna need to preheat. Now, this is a simple, recipe to make. A lot of people are nervous about making their own biscuits. Now, let me show you. As you guys see, we got some ingredients right there, right? Look, those ingredients are on my website, smokingandgrillingwithab.com, and that's WITAB.com, right? So, first thing we do is put a little heat under here. We got a medium flame. We just want to heat up our olive oil. My olive oil, which is an infused olive oil, this is scallion. What I'm gonna do is now, I'm just gonna take this and just squeeze this out. Now, sometimes when you go there, you don't have, they won't have like the 1 pound ground pork, you know what I mean? So you might have to get them, in the links, right? If you do, all you gotta do is do exactly what I'm doing. Just push the filling out, that's all. So once you have everything in here, right, you wanna get yourself one of these little meat mashers. Now notice how I didn't let anything, I like to let them sit down there and form a little crust. That right there gives it a nice, unique, little taste to it also. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna break this up. This will be my first time breaking it up. You know what I mean? Then we wait until we don't have any more pink. And then I'm gonna go ahead and break it up into small pieces, because this is going into the gravy. If you pay attention to this part right here, look, I got flour and I got the rest of my dry ingredients. Remember, I measure out everything, right? So what we get ready to do is get all of this in here, mix it up, and then we finna work on our workstation, because we finna make our, our biscuits. All right, and just to elaborate, when I said that unique, taste to it, if you guys come in here and take a look, maybe I'll do it like this so you guys can see it. You see how some of this has crust on it? Look at that right there. I'm just looking for the crusty piece. Look at that right there. Don't that remind you like a breakfast sandwich? I mean a breakfast sausage? So now I'm gonna go ahead and break this down just a little bit further. And then anything that is not fully cooked, so right now the objective is just not to see any pink. We're gonna continue that into our gravy, right? Okay, so we got all our ingredients. What you guys didn't see is I had pepper. That was sitting off to the side, right? So we just dump all of this in here. Don't forget, folks, always keep that hot soapy water, right next to you. You guys look, I got it right here. So I like to clean as I go, right? So now I'm gonna go ahead and whisk all this together and get this mixed thoroughly. Okay, so look, here's my butter. It's cold just now out of the refrigerator, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this down just like you see. We just want this to be on the cold side. All right, and I'll cut them down like this. I'm just mixing this in here like that so they can get coated, right? Now I'm gonna add my shortening to it, right? Now, you see that we got this pastry utensil right here. I'm just gonna move this over here like this and just start working it in a little bit. Once I hit it, and I kind of like blend it, just break up some more of the pieces of butter. You know what I mean? You start coming up with pieces like this. You know what I mean? To get a little bit like on the doughy side, right? So what I'm gonna do now is just make a little center here. I'm gonna bring in my buttermilk. Now I'm gonna take my buttermilk and just pour this in here. And you wanna keep your buttermilk as cold as possible, folks. Now I'm gonna get my little spatula and just start folding things over like this. And you just wanna keep folding it. We don't wanna mix it. Don't use no utensil. Like, don't try to get your mixer or nothing like that. We just want to use that buttermilk and let it work till we start to come up with like a doughy consistency. Okay, so look, this is what you want to do. You want to get yourself a workstation, right? I'm gonna use my countertop. So what you want to do is put a little flour on here and just spread this, because you don't want none of your dough that you're getting ready to mix up, you don't want it to stick, right? So you want to put it on here. This will make sure nothing sticks. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just take my dough and just drop this in to center, just like you see, right? It's got that doughy consistency. Now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna give this a little bit of a massage with my hand. But as you can see how it starts to come together, look at this. This is what you want. Keep folding it back and forth over here to the top, just like you see. And if you feel like it needs a little bit more, buttermilk, you guys can just like add a sprinkle or two. But I'm gonna tell you, if you just work it, the butter and everything that's in here, remember we use cold butter, it'll all show up in here. All right, so now I like to take a little, well, I ain't gonna say a little, because I like to make sure I got enough flour on my rolling pin, right? That's what you want. Now, we have all of this flour that's on here, right? You can see how I just been folding this over. I'm gonna fold it over like that, and now I'm finna work it, right? So We're just gonna roll this out this way, roll it that way. You don't wanna roll it out too flat because that'll make, your biscuits flat. But you see how it is like this? Now I usually take 1/2 of it and then roll that over. Make sure I keep my work surface full of flour. All right, so now I'm gonna roll it this way. This is how we get those layers of flakes, folks, right? And then if you feel like some of it's sticking, just go ahead, run some of this on here and just roll it out. I like to have mine close to a 1/2 inch. Now you guys might want to double this. Now I'm gonna show you how big they come out when I do it, right? You see that? I'm gonna roll one more time and that'll probably be the last. Now I'm gonna bring a little flour over here. These little pieces right here to come off, you can just add them on top because we're gonna mash those in, right? So now I take the rolling pin and just start rolling it just like you see. And the more you guys do this, the more this will become real easy to you folks. I got a biscuit cutter right here, right? So if you notice, I went ahead and just made sure I put a little flour in the inside of that, right? So now I'm gonna take this, drop this down like that. I'm gonna make me another one. Now remember, if your dough is not the same equal height on all ends, you're gonna have a lean to it. You know what I mean? I'm just doing it like this just so I can show you guys what I do with it next. And that's gonna give us the flakes. You see that right there? Remember the layers, how I kept folding it? There you have it. I don't wanna lose this on the top. I want all of this to be on there. And then you wanna get yourself, a baking sheet, and then you just wanna start lining them up. Look at that right there. That's how we get that. And I'm gonna put them close together. You know why? Because each one gonna touch each other as they rise. They're gonna help each other rise. Now we take this, fold it a couple times, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna roll that out. Then we're gonna make a few more of these. Look at those right there. If you feel like you need to put a little flour on the top, you can. If you wanna dust them, it really just depends how you do them. But the first ones came out like that because they was underneath, like some of my, flour counter, right? So put these in, they all close. I'm at 425. We're gonna set a timer for 18 minutes. Okay, so I just turned everything off. Let's look at them. And this is what you'll come up with right here. I don't know why that one didn't brown that way. They go to tell me how everything is like heating up in my oven. But this is what you wanna come up with, right? So now I'm gonna set this over here on my stove. And what we're gonna do is, I'm bringing this back up to temp right now. Now you guys can make it in a different order. You can do it like that, but I just really wanted everybody to, see it the way I'm doing it here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add my onions to it. Right? Now you guys can add as much onion to it as possible, that you guys like on your end, or guess what? You can omit them, just totally, right? So now we're gonna go ahead and cook these down just a little bit. Remember, we don't wanna see no pink, right? But don't forget, it's gonna continue to cook. And then I hit it right here for the last time because I want it to be small, right? I just wanted to make sure we got that pork sausage all over. Hey, and me saying that, of course, you guys can make this out of any type of sausage that you would like. They got some good turkey sauces out there. You know what I mean? If you can find a beef sausage that you like, you can use this the same way if you guys aren't doing pork. So once your onions get down to like about right where you would like for them to be, right? They're gonna go down a little bit further. Now I done switched over and got my rubber spatula, right? Now I'm gonna go ahead and take my flour and we're gonna work this in, right? Now this right here is gonna be our thickening agent. You guys can already see how it's coming together already, right? So we wanna cook that flour taste out, right? Let me look at my fire. Let me reduce this down to a medium flame. You know what I mean? I was like at a medium high, right? Just trying to get those onions to, catch up. You see how it rendered a lot of pork fat, right? But now we filling it with, that flour. Here's where all the questions are gonna come. You guys can use whole milk. Now, when it comes for me to cook, I always use whole milk. You guys can use half and half if you want it to be a little bit more on the thicker side. If you use whole milk, we gotta cook it a little longer, to get it to thicken up the way we would like for it to be. And then we go ahead and plate, and then we pour everything on on top of our sausages, right? So this has been long enough. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just start adding this in. Now I'm gonna raise my fire up. I'm only gonna add so much to this right now. I'm back up to a medium-high flame. And what we wanna do is we wanna get this all mixed and incorporated. And then what we wanna do is, put a little thyme under it with a little constant stirring. Now, let me just say this part. If you wanna have a little bite, now will be the time for you to go ahead and put in a little bit of red chili flakes. You guys can put in like a half a teaspoon You know what I mean? That's still kid friendly. It keeps everybody saying, this is nice and warm with just a small bite. For those of you guys that want to have more, go ahead and add more. For me, I'm getting ready to put in a half a teaspoon. Okay, so remember I tell you your desired thickness. This is what I like to see right here, right? Now will be the time that you can go ahead and hit it with your pepper. And if you want to put some more seasonings in there, you can, but I promise you this combination right here is just right. And because it's pork and it's already been seasoned, you know what I mean? I'm only gonna add I'm gonna turn my fire off now because I think I'm thick enough. I'm just gonna add a generous pinch of salt and we're gonna leave that alone just like that, folks. Now, while I have the fire off, and if it gets a little too thick, if you want to add a little bit more milk to it to, thin it out, you can do that also. But this right here, ooh, my goodness. Let me hurry up and get my platter ready and get this going. And then last but not least, I like to put a little color in there, but notice I'm using chives, you guys. Chives do more than just add that color. They give it a nice little taste. You know what I mean? So I just put this in here and it's okay. You can see the little green in there. And again, if it get too thick for you, I don't know how you guys like yours, but if it get too thick, all you gotta do is add a little bit more milk to it, or you can thin it out with a little bit. If you have any in your refrigerator, a little chicken broth, you know what I mean? All of that is like levels and layers of flavor. You see I just stacked them right here. So what I'm gonna do is, what brought you guys here is this thumbnail that you guys are gonna see right now, right? And that's just myself taking it, scooping this up like this. Right, and you want to see the consistency of it. Look at that right there. That's the gravy you want. And then notice that you're getting, that ground mild pork in there just like you would like. Look at that. All right, so let me go ahead and pour this on here, and then I want to hurry up and taste these. There it is right there. Listen, I'm gonna get right into this right here. Let's just go ahead and get this cut down. Look, nice, flaky. You guys can see the layers. See that right there? But this is what you wanna know. You wanna know how it is with this gravy. Get it like that. And guess what, folks? Cheers. Those red chili flakes was a must. Hold on. That right there is fire, folks. Now, listen, if you like biscuits and gravy, I made this a couple of times and I done seasoned it different ways. Remember, we taste as we go, so we have success like this right here, right? Now, listen, if you're new to my channel, let me take this time to say thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, smash that subscribe button, and tell everybody out there there's a channel out here that's simplifying these recipes and taking the mystery out of cooking. I gotta hurry up and get out of here because everybody want to reach in here and get them some. I'm out. Peace.